All right, we are live here on the MMA Junkie YouTube channel. Mike Bohn and Farah Hannoun, who may be having some connection problems, not too sure here. But Farah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
All right, how are we doing? You're over there in Abu Dhabi, so you've had a very busy fight week. I know a lot going on, but yeah, how are things? How's the fight week been so far?
It's been good. It's been good. Probably the least busy day today because it's the press conference, but it's been good.
Yeah, what did you think of the press conference? What were your biggest takeaways, if any?
It was okay. I don't know. I feel like the press conferences aren't. Maybe they should include more fan questions or something because I feel like their questions sometimes can get probably the best reactions out of the fighters. But at that point, they have already done all the media day, the broadcast partners, everything was kind of been said. But it was okay. It was pretty cordial. I like that exchange between Umar and Dana when Umar asked for Dana if it was a number one contender fight. I'd probably say that's probably the best moment out of it.
Yeah, no, that was a good call for sure. It was so weird. I was thinking when Batista was talking, like he should have done that same thing. It's like just put Dana on the spot, and then Umar does it. It's like, okay, that's maybe a guy who understands the game a little bit more. But I thought crowd loved him and
Yeah.
all that. But yeah, Tom and Ciryl, I don't think too much notable between them. I think Tom clarifying his media day prediction.
Yeah, and just the crowd being, I guess, pro Tom, probably the Brits. But because this is kind of neutral ground in terms of like the proximity between the UK and Dubai and France and Dubai, it's pretty much the same. So, but yeah, it seems like there's more of a British. But yeah, I would say there's probably more English people in Dubai. Granted, or in the UAE. Granted, a lot of people are flying in. I did hear a lot of French in my lobby, just people checking in today. So maybe the Gane fans are flocking in now.
Yeah, they were definitely the Aspinall cheers were definitely loud. That was, I thought, one of the
Yeah.
more notable moments of the early portion of the press conference there. Any takeaways from like the face-offs or seeing all the people in person, like how they looked, on the eve of the weight cut and all that stuff?
Nah, I think it's pretty much what I mean. The heavyweights. I mean, everyone's talking about Gane's phenomenal shape. He
Mm-hmm.
kind of said it's natural. He said it's just come with the work. I don't think he meant like natural,
Well, I
natural
was wondering.
Boston.
I was like, he said it. He said it either way. He used the word natural, so I don't know what he was trying to clarify, but I think he said it the right way,
No,
regardless.
yeah, I think this is a kind of lost in translation type of thing. Say naturel, which in French is like it's normal. So I think that's what he was trying to say. Not that it's, I'm pretty sure he means it's natural. But and then I've seen people talking about Aspinall's physique. I don't know if the shorts are a little tight, the ones he tried on with the English flag. I think it's more that than him being out of shape or anything. I don't think he looks out of shape.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, he thought he looked pretty damn good in those photos, so we'll see how that translates to the fight. I don't know. I guess you kind of want to take the lead here in breaking down these title fights and into this other key matchups on the main card. I don't know. Do you feel like since we're on the press conference, did they miss the boat not bringing Volkov and Almeida? I know it would have been, more translations, more of that stuff, but Tom Aspinall himself is saying at media day that this is like the obvious number one contender fight. He's playing off John Jones, playing off Alex Pereira. I felt like those guys probably could have been there and take advantage of it a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, it's just the translation thing that was probably going to make it so, especially in the beginning, the translator's mic wasn't even working, like for Verna. So
Yeah.
there was like, I don't know how it sounded like looking at the live link, but I'm sure there was like pin drop signs, or I don't know if you guys could even hear the translator. But yeah, I think there's just way too many translations out there that by the time the message comes through, it would have been a bit, I don't know. But, I mean, I like what Volkov and Almeida have been saying, as I don't have an issue with that. It's just, yeah, I guess people just need to start learning English, Mike. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we preview, I want to answer this one from Joseph Boza about Dean Thomas's comments. If you can pull that up, cold coffee. Just 'cause you wrote the story about it far earlier today for MMA Junkies. So
Yeah.
obviously, if anyone didn't see it, the story's there. But Dean Thomas saying, I don't know, is that what he said? That it was the weakest women's strawweight title fight in history, or did he just say one of the weakest title fights? Period.
Yeah, one of the most insignificant title fights he was going to see in history, and then he's maybe not in history, but in a
Recent
long time.
history.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
recent
think that was
history.
his. Which, I mean, how recent are we going? I saw a lot of people saying, like Juliana Pena and or no, Raquel Pennington and Myra Buena Silva was up there. I don't know, like it's kind of a mean topic, but I don't know. What do you make of these comments from Dean?
I mean, you've spoken to Dean multiple times.
Yes.
I've written multiple outrageous headlines from your podcast. So, I mean, Dean is going to be Dean. Now, I mean, the one he did the whole Ankalaev Dakota Ditreva trade thing, he doubled and tripled down on it. So I'm sure if someone asks him, he'll probably double down on it again. I definitely don't agree with it being the most insignificant or whatnot, but I kind of understand what he means where there isn't that much buzz. I agree with that. I mean, they fought already before. Zhang Weili vacated her belt. Verna's a rightful contender. Mackenzie, they just, I guess, because Tatiana just lost, it just made sense, I guess. And we've already seen the fight. It was back in 2020, so it was 5 years ago. But yeah, maybe I can understand. And for sure, it's going to be overshadowed by the heavyweight title fight. Maybe if this was a headliner on a fight night event, it probably would have more buzz. But hey, listen, they're doing a lot of media. They were out in the open workouts and stuff. But I don't know about the fans' excitement. That I don't know.
Yeah, my take. I mean, I guess you guys can let us know if you agree with Dean in the comments. I don't know what he means by insignificant per se. I guess if you did want to try to find an angle to agree, like whoever wins this fight, is anyone going to say they believe they're the best strawweight in the world? Like the shadow of Zhang Weili still looms so large, and it's always hard to get out under the shadow of a dominant champion like that when you're moving on to a new era, whether it's, George St. Pierre retiring and champions that came after him and all these different things that happen in weight classes. So I could get it from that angle, just being like this could have been a fight without a title, and how differently would people be feeling about it? I don't know. But it's tough when Weili's gone and we don't have any clarity if she's planning to come back here.
Yeah, I think regardless of the way either one of them win, whether it's a quick dominant finish or a super exciting, thrilling 5-round battle. I mean, their first fight was pretty fun. They Mackenzie broke her nose. They were exchanging leather. It wasn't exactly the fight I would have expected it to be. But I think, yeah, like you said, because Zhang Weili is so dominant and because both these fighters, although Verna's on a really good run, but yeah, I don't know. People are probably going to put an asterisk on them. Maybe it's going to take a couple of title defenses for either whoever emerges victorious for people to move on from the idea of Zhang Weili being champion. But I expect some sort of not criticism, but like comments towards whoever wins the title.
All right. Well, yeah, feel free to take the lead now as we look ahead to UFC 321 more in depth.
Yeah, so let's talk about Umar and Mario Batista, because obviously Umar is very popular here. I spoke to Javier Mendez saying he has extreme pressure on him. How about you? What do you think? Because at the end of the day, Umar, Merab has beaten everybody pretty much. So this is what, including Umar, but Umar gave him a very close fight. Do you agree with the notion that there's this extreme pressure? Like if Umar loses to Mario, where does he go from here, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there's got to be, just because we never see this team really lose at all on this level, and to not only have one loss and to get two, I think would be pretty unprecedented for these guys. So obviously Umar's not trying to be the first to have that happen and has so much expectations, and people believe from day one that this guy was going to be a UFC champion, and whether they believe he's gotten shortcutted to opportunities and all that type of stuff, him falling short of that in any way in his career, I think would be looked at as a failure, just given his potential. So this is one you got to give. Not to say if he lost this fight, he couldn't, rebuild and get back there, all that stuff. But yeah, like for the short term, immediate hopes, especially if he wants to take that belt from Merab and, get that rematch and make it the biggest fight possible, it's all on this one. He's got to win big, I think. So yeah, if he loses, I don't know where he goes. I mean, he says he wants to fight again before Ramadan. We'll see if he would still do that on a defeat. But yeah, only thing you can do if you lose a fight like this is try to get back and start rebuilding again.
Yeah, and he's a pretty heavy favorite, so obviously the expectations are high. I mean, he did have a good showing. This was an interesting thing that both Javier and Omar himself said about the broken hand in the fight. Obviously, Javier's whole thing was, had he told us, we would have switched up the game plan. But they both talked about it zapping his cardio. I mean, Javier said it, and then Umar said it as well. What do you think of those comments about him saying that dealing with the broken hand? I mean, we can't relate. I don't think we can comment, criticize, but none of us can relate necessarily about having a broken limb and continuing to compete. because even if that's happened to us in any sport, we usually stop, right? Like I've had injuries in basketball games. I have not continued when I've torn ligaments in my ankles. So what do you make of those comments about it zapping his cardio?
Yeah, so I'm no more of an authority to speak on this than you are, but I did ask Dustin Poirier about this on the podcast yesterday, and he says he doesn't understand that relation. And he's never like, he said he hasn't broke his hand like that in a fight where he had to go that much longer and do that much grappling, but from his experience and knowledge of the fight game, he was as confused about that comment as we kind of break it down. So I don't know. I mean, obviously you're in there with Merab, who I think is going to tire you regardless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak. I'm not a doctor, all that stuff, but I did ask one of the most experienced fighters in UFC history. And if you want to hear his full answer and reaction, all that stuff, go watch the show. But yeah, that was my question to him. So that's the answer we can give as far as our limited knowledge there. But definitely I have not heard that comparison in my 15 years covering the sport.
Yeah, because it's not like we have anything to point at in terms of Umar having, for example, had like 3, 4, 5 round fights and being known for his cardio. Maybe then we could, it's an interesting comment regardless. But broken hand impacting his performance, fair enough. The cardio thing I just thought was, well, there you go. Someone's Masters of the Universe Classic saying, how does a broken hand affect cardio though? I guess somebody could, maybe I can try to follow up with Umar if he's victorious and we get the chance to talk to him after. But the stylistic matchup itself, I mean, it seems like Mario is always counted out. He was an underdog against Patchy Mix. Now that win doesn't seem like it's aging that well. I think that has something to do with it, right? But for Mario, Umar doesn't seem to be underestimating him. His team doesn't seem to be underestimating him at all. He has quietly climbed the ranks. But where do you feel like his path to victory is here? Because Umar's striking is very good as well.
I'm super curious to see what he does because he's at the press conference, right? And he's like, I'm not going to win a decision here. Like he seems to acknowledge all the circumstances, saying he's going to, finish this fight in the first round or go for it. I guess that's what you have to do. We'll see. We hear fighters say this kind of stuff all the time. You get in there, it's a different story, Sean Strickland being a prime example of that type of situation. But I don't disagree with anything he said. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that just because it's in Abu Dhabi that's rigged in Umar's favor or anything like that. They have judges that they're going to assign and fly over to this event. It's not all locals, at least. I wouldn't expect it to be given precedent. So I guess we could throw that out the window a little bit, but I appreciate the mindset at least. And I hope that translates into him really pushing and going for that finish and testing Umar, testing that hand, all that type of stuff. So what is the path to victory? Even despite all that, I feel like it's probably decision is best to do that, but you got to win all 3 rounds pretty convincingly. I don't know how you do that against Umar. Of course, you can clip him, can knock him out. Anything can happen in the sport. We've seen him a million times, but I don't love his odds here unless Umar is maybe just like super gun shy with that hand, breaks it again and gasses out. For all we know, I don't see a clear path to him unless it's just something very unexpected from us and he can outwork him.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's predicting a first round finish. Aspinall saying jab and win by split decision. But most.
I hope that happens, by the way. It would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like a controversial decision, controversial split decision.
I love the chaos.
Dana's like, when someone's like, I'm going to be, yeah. But yeah, back to Umar and Mario. Do you think Mario gets the title shot? I know Merab seems to be the captain of his own ship because anytime, and I've spoken to you about this before when we've done preview shows and stuff. I told you I feel like champions now just kind of decide like I want to fight in December, I want to fight in February, and it's like whoever's ready is ready, and that's kind of how they're getting what they want. Not as unless there's like a clear massive superstar that the UFC are pushing for. But in this case, I guess Umar is the one that has the buzz. Do you think Mario winning gets him the title shot? It has to, right? But I'm just like looking at the landscape at 35. Who else?
Yeah, I think it does. Unless, of course, Merab loses to Jan, then that's an immediate rematch situation or a trilogy fight in their instance. So that's clearly the one to make. And I think Merab wants to make that happen for him. I think he, like, from talking to him about Mario Bautista in the past, I think he appreciates his path that he's had to get to this point that's similar to his own, beating guys, maybe not always impressively, trying to win over a crowd that may not like your style and all that type of stuff he's trying to do. There is a lot of similarities in their story. So is that a fight that's going to, blow the doors off and, have people rush into the box office? I don't know, but I don't know what the UFC's plans are for 2026 and what this new era on Paramount is going to look like, how they're going to structure cards. Maybe a Merab versus Mario Bautista fight could headline a different type of event than we're used to expecting. But most certainly, if Merab's wanting to fight in like March, which is usually a Vegas numbered event, like that's an easy co-main to do on there to a bigger fight. So that's where I'd probably seeing it end up. But yeah, I think that's the one you have to do.
Yeah, I'm reading Fresh Melon Juice's comment. He's like, Merab's next fight after Jan will be during Ramadan next year for Umar. That'll be ultimate trolling, wouldn't it?
And I mean, he's already said he wants to return in February or March after this, because apparently he wants 5 title defenses next year. So if he's not fighting in February or March, that's not going to happen. So you got to get busy.
Yeah, well, Ramadan's towards the end of February, around that time. So, well, I mean,
we'll see. I mean, Umar said he wants to fight before then as well, right? So seemingly, unless one of these guys get hurt, there would be a willingness to oblige to his schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Ankalaev ended up fighting in Ramadan. I mean, if you want the shot, we want what you get. That's what's gonna happen. Bilal's fought in Ramadan before, like they know. But I think, I don't know. That'll just be funny. That'll be like ultimate trolling for Merab. But I don't like. I still don't get what riles Merab up so much about Umar. Like,
I think it does stem. I mean, people, you could have your opinion on the Khabib and the family element and just, everything that he may have gotten out of that. I think Merab, worked his ass off and had to do everything the hard way. So he doesn't love, just that side of it. It's a clash. And I don't know, you could speak better. I don't know if there's regional tensions or just things about each other that comes from all that. But yeah, I mean, someone comment there, Umar is arrogant and was talking a lot of smack. He was talking a little bit of smack ahead of that fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, arrogant is to each their own, but yeah, I just don't think Merab looks at him and just can relate to him as a person.
But this is similar to the Islam Makhachev situation where, I mean, obviously we don't know the behind the scenes where they say nobody wants to fight him. And then it's like he gets this big jump up in competition. And that's what happened to Umar. He fought Corey Sandhagen and then ended up getting the title fight. So I think if that is really it and they can't get fights, then what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah, it's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, look at how Sean O'Malley became champion. He won one fight in the top 3 and then got there. Like, this is just what happens sometimes. It's not like you should never use the word fair when it comes to title shots and things like that. The UFC does things the way they want to, and some people just have inherent advantages. It's no different than any other walk of life, really.
Yeah, someone saying Umar will never fight in Ramadan. I know. I'm just saying it's, and I don't think the UFC would necessarily put Umar in that situation. I think they know the potential star power and obviously being.
They would for Magomed Ankalaev. So, like, again, it's just another thing. It's not always equal. And I'm not comparing Sean to Umar, fresh melon juice. I'm just saying there's instances where not all title shots are created equal.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Let's highlight Almeida and Volkov a little bit here. I picked Almeida. I just feel like the grappling, what I saw out of, granted, the Volkov-Gane fight was controversial, and I understand, but Gane says he broke 3-4 toes in his foot in that fight. But I just think, Gane being able to take down Volkov a couple of times, Almeida being I feel like it's going to take a Curtis Blades type of finish on Almeida for Volkov to beat him. I could be wrong, but how do you see this going? I just think Almeida's grappling will be too much.
Yeah, we know he goes for, I mean, I'm not trying to compare him, make another crazy comparison here and compare Jailton Almeida to Khamzat Chimaev, but he does have that same one-sided takedown mentality in a lot of his fights. So we'll see if he's able to come out of the gates on fire and get him down and once he's down, I don't know if Volkov's getting back up, where Curtis Blades, I think, has much more capability on that. So he needs to be desperately fighting those early takedowns and be ready for it all. If he can consistently stop the takedowns and turn this into a striking fight, like Volkov has gotten so much better over these past few years. I mean, it's been really impressive, especially like given, he's had multiple lives in the sport. To do everything he has after so many fights is pretty impressive. But yeah, like he should be probably the one fighting for the title on this card. But I do think the Ciryl Gane is more interesting for Aspinall just because it's fresh. I don't think, even though Volkov has made his improvements, that it would be a vastly different fight with Tom, and that's because of the difference in the ground game that we saw. So I'm inclined to think Almeida is going to be able to get him down and submit him here, or if not, just like take 17 minutes of control time off the clock or something like that, which may not be fun to watch, but that's his path to victory if he doesn't get the finish here. So it's a tough matchup for Volkov, but again, he surprised me a number of times in recent years. If he did it again and proved me wrong on my prediction, which I just submitted for Almeida, I would not be shocked, and I'd be happy for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most exciting fight on paper, but it is the logical fight to make. And Tom Aspinall acknowledged it as what should be the number one contender fight. Granted that DC does not think that Almeida.
Yeah, he can't fight, so why did I pick him? I don't know. Damn it.
Man, DC. But they kind of did him dirty there. He's loud, though. He's a loud guy. Like, he should know better than to whisper in a microphone.
Yeah, he must have not known that he had a microphone on, right? I mean, I would hope not, but yeah.
Or you just assume that when you whisper, people aren't going to hear you.
Yes, yeah. Egg on Daniel Cormier's face in that situation. The optics of that one look pretty bad for him, even though I think if he said everything he said on his podcast, I don't think we'd just treat it like another Cormier take.
And the comment on Volkan Ozdemir as well was not very nice. But...
Yeah, I remember Daniel.
I was gonna say that was not whispered. That was
not. I remember Daniel Cormier told me one time, it was like at a media roundtable. I think, God, I don't know what fight he was prepping for. It was before then, obviously, but we were asking him how much longer he was going to do this, and he said, "If I'm fighting I think Volkan Ozdemir had like 1 or 2 UFC fights there, and we were just asking. He's like, if I'm fighting Volkan Ozdemir, like my career's gone horribly wrong." So I think this was another insight. Obviously, circumstances led to that fight. I don't think, if John Jones is getting suspended, all these things, that's not a UFC title fight that would have happened, but I digress.
Yeah, you should pull up that clip just for DC. Since he's been having a great week.
Somewhere on this YouTube channel, you just have to dig deep in the archives. There's a lot of videos on here.
Yeah, but we can transition into the main event to give it its due time. It seems like everybody's counting Ciryl Gane out against Tom Aspinall, considering, I guess, a lot of people are looking at that last fight against Volkov. A lot of people assume that Gane hasn't been taking things seriously because of the Netflix movie. Granted, that movie was filmed a while back. I think people assume that he just filmed it or something. It's been a while since that film wrapped up in terms of filming. But he's been away from his family. He's been in the UAE for a while, in Dubai, like just getting away from everything, obviously in phenomenal shape as well. But we talk about pressure. I think someone earlier said that Umar has got the most pressure on this card. Could be Gane. How about you? Like, who do you feel like has more pressure or the most pressure on this card? Or maybe Aspinall, because after all this, and a lot of people are going to compare what John Jones did to Ciryl Gane as well, right? So a lot of people have pressure.
Yeah, a lot of people do have pressure here. I think it's going to be Gane. And I know I see already people saying it's Aspinall, but I feel like Aspinall, if he loses this fight, has a free ticket to an immediate rematch. Like, what else is going on? Are they going to do Gane versus Almeida? Like, I don't think that's probably happening. So I think they turn this one right around, and maybe we get a trilogy after that. And this is the next like 3 years of the heavyweight division. It's like Kane and JDS all over again, Cormier and Stipe. This is not an unrealistic possibility, but if Gane wins, but yes, I think if Gane loses this fight, he's in a very tough position as long as Tom Aspinall is the champion. I don't think he's getting another shot, even though it would just be one fight between them. So for him, I kind of think that's the case.
Yeah, because it's like Gane already has some good wins over top guys in the division, and Yeah, he can easily headline. So I don't think in terms of his career he's done. I can't remember who was asking me about whether I think it was Charles Oliveira before his fight, and I was like, same thing. I'm like, Charles Oliveira is Charles Oliveira. You can throw him on a fight night headliner in Brazil anytime. You can put him on a pay-per-view main card. So I think the same goes for Gane. But in terms of the title picture, considering the opportunities that he's gotten, especially if Aspinall goes out there and does what Aspinall does, yeah, that's not going to
Get
be.
ready to rematch Derek Lewis, buddy.
There you go. There you go. You're putting your matchmaker hat on already.
Yeah,
You're doing it.
yeah. I was just looking at some B-roll from their first fight, so maybe that's why it was stuck in my mind. But yeah, it's a tough spot. You basically laid it out very well. It's a lot of pressure. Not many people have this. I asked Dustin Poirier about this on the podcast as well. Like being in this spot in these shoes of probably facing your last title shot, and he said he's lived in those shoes, and it's not an easy spot to be in. So it is a lot of pressure on him, and we'll see if he can elevate. I mean, he's clearly in ridiculous shape, and taking this very seriously. Was away from his family for 3 months, all that stuff. So this feels like the no stone unturned moment. And I don't know, like it maybe does feel the most winnable in a way. I don't think I didn't think he was going to beat John Jones. I wasn't too confident about his chances against Ngannou, especially about some of the stuff you heard about their training history and just so much that went into that fight. I don't think he was ready for it. Like Tom is the unknown. We've seen him take some shots, but maybe Tom has a terrible chin in this fight, or eats it like a heavyweight, or tires out if this goes to the third or fourth round. Like there's so many unknowns about him. And I know this is kind of what everyone has said, but yeah, like how many times have we seen this scenario where like this guy looks fantastic until he doesn't?
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are looking at it as in like if he doesn't get if Tom doesn't knock him out quick, the cardio thing. I think it's more of because I remember obviously when Gane lost to John Jones, and I'm not saying Tom Aspinall, Sergey Spivak before anyone says anything, but what did Spivak do? He stormed out the gate because he saw that as a blueprint. So I think Gane is expecting that from Aspinall, where Aspinall is going to come and put heavy pressure right off the bat, because I think if he plays a range game and is like slowly, if it's like one of those feeling out processes, that benefits Gane in terms, because Gane is the better overall striker. He's got great kicks. He's got great body kicks. He's super athletic, whereas Tom, it's pretty boxing heavy. So I think as Gane is expecting Aspinall to storm right out the gate and try to take him down. So I'm thinking it's the same thing. The reason Gane was able to defend those takedowns against Spivak, again, I'm not saying Spivak is Tom Aspinall, but the reason why he was able to defend those takedowns so well is because you could almost see him like expecting it. Whereas with John Jones, and he said it, I talked to him, I talked to Fernando Lopez, they didn't think John Jones was going to do that, because since when does John Jones storm out of any gate, right? So I think Jones caught him off guard, whereas when he fought Spivak, it's like you could see Gane was already ready for that. So I think that's interesting to me. Like literally the first 10 to 15 seconds, how Aspinall approaches the fight is what I'm most intrigued about by him.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well. As Masters of the Universe Classic says there, Aspinall has gold fight IQ. I think it's a little underrated. Definitely agree. I mean, he comes from a great camp, as he said earlier as well. He lives and breathes MMA. His dad is from everything I've seen around him and heard, his dad seems like a very proper man, and is like fully focused on him and making his potential reach to the maximum. So I would not say any of those boxes are concerning or all that stuff. It's just like, this is heavyweight MMA. Like to sit here and be like, fight IQ, all the stuff, athleticism, power, like it can not matter. It matters the least in this division because there's the most high element and risk of knockout potential. So like we could say as much as we want about Tom Aspinall, but it's hard when you're fighting someone with those tiny gloves that's as big and powerful, Ciryl Gane, and vice versa. So I don't know how he's going to handle those first 15 seconds. If I'm Ciryl Gane, though, like I would hope their game plan doesn't revolve around dragging this to the third, fourth, fifth round and just like taking time off the clock and moving and a lot of stuff like that. Already feels like a loser mentality. Like you need to go out there and fight him, right? As you said there, be ready from the opening bell. And I'm not saying be crazy, take it to Tom Aspinall, do anything stupid, but if you're just being like, oh, what if we hope he gasses out? What if his cardio doesn't hold up? Like, those don't feel like the right mindsets to go in there and win this fight. But that is just the opinion of one man.
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt Gunn to be the aggressor right off the bat, like throw Tom off, as opposed to be defensive, because it's like if he's defensive and kind of worried about a potential like takedown or Tom storming right out the gate, I don't know if that's the best thing in the world, because even if he's able to evade a little bit, he could end up with his back against the fence and he'll just give Tom, maybe even if Tom wasn't looking for it necessarily, he'll give Tom an advantage there. I think if you're Gunn, just be the aggressor. It's maybe this is not the best analogy, but it's like when I was just talking to Imavov now about RDR and Brendan Allen, he was telling me off camera, he's like, I knew Brendan Allen was going to win this fight. And it's because I guess with RDR, we've always seen him as the aggressor when it comes to the grappling. We haven't really seen him on the defensive. He's always kind of like the hammer when it comes to grappling. And I think with Aspinall, yes, the Sergey Spivak, that's what it was. But I don't think Gane is going to go up with his chin up and charge at him like that. And like I said, Gane has got way more of an arsenal when it comes to kicks. And like once he gets his body kicks going and that kind of stuff, that's, again, pretty cliche or pretty obvious, I should say, to say this. But I just think the first 15 to 20 seconds are going to be very, very telling.
Yeah, they have to be, right? I mean, that's 1/4 of Tom Aspinall's average fight. So, like, yeah, there's only so much to dissect. So we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, and hopefully, one way or another, it is a quick night, because there's a World Series game here in Toronto on Saturday that I'm fortunate enough to be going to. So let's wrap up this early pay-per-view quick.
Well, I mean, if you pick Tom Aspinall, so I'm assuming that's what you're.
Yeah, you never know though. He says it's going to be a 5-round split decision that's boring, so that would be the worst case scenario, because we might get some long fights on this main card. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the co-main event, I would probably. I don't know. You're the stat guy. I'm assuming Mackenzie's never been submitted. Verna, on the other hand.
Let's see here. We got it right here. Verna has never been finished, period. And Mackenzie has one stoppage loss, and it was like a TKO, not a submission.
Okay. Yeah. I saw, Verna in the open workouts, because obviously she got, was it a kick? That was like a knee into a kick type thing that broke Mackenzie's nose. I saw her throw a lot of that in the open workouts. It seems like it's a focal point, maybe her assuming that Mackenzie is going to try to shoot. But then we saw Mackenzie look pretty sharp with Perillo on the pads, and they did stand and bang for the 3 rounds. So I'd like to see them go to the ground. I don't know if either one think it's wise, or either one probably think that, because Mackenzie, we've seen she tends to get a little sloppy in the stand-up. So Verna's probably thinking, her and her team, that, yeah, maybe Verna's not an elite striker, but that's the path to victory for her. How about you? Like, do you see this fight hitting the ground at all, or do you think that it's going to be a bit of an extended repeat of the first fight?
I hope it does, and I'm sure they put it on this card in this location hoping it does. I mean, if there's any crowd that's going to appreciate these two grappling, I think it would probably be this one. So I'd like to see some of that. It would be very poetic for Mackenzie Dern to win a UFC title with a submission there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it would be a great story for her. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen here? I feel like I picked Verna. As we get closer here, I'm kind of getting bigger on my feeling she's going to win this fight.
Yeah, I picked Mackenzie. I just think, I don't know. It's not an easy one to pick. I think Verna's constantly overlooked by myself too, apparently. But I think there's been a lot of like buzz and excitement towards Mackenzie for various reasons. But it seems like the UFC obviously wanna push her and would want her to be champion.
UFC wants Mackenzie Dern to win this fight. Let's make no bones about it. I mean, if there's one person that's going to win the least interesting or least significant title fight in UFC history, it's got to be Dern.
But yeah, I mean, the thumbnails unembedded say a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I feel maybe if someone gets a little bit hurt, we'll see the grappling, the clinching. But I think we'll see some pretty, I don't want to use the word sloppy, but I think we're going to see a lot of like, and they're going to have to manage their cardio as well. This is 5 rounds, so I don't know if they can keep up that pace. We might end up getting a very sloppy 4th and 5th round. Could be entertaining, but potentially sloppy. I don't know. I'm going Mackenzie, but this isn't like a sure pick for me. I don't know. Maybe because she won the first fight, although Verna's on the better streak.
Yeah, Verna's looked very good and someone who I've underestimated, and I'll probably, getting on board too late and she'll lose this one. So that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, and someone's saying here, what is it? Asray videos says Dern has the power and better grappling. Yeah, I mean, Dern definitely throws with like kind of reckless abandon. She always has that overhand right into the takedown. Like she just really bites down in her mouthpiece and throws. So, yeah.
Fresh melon juice there says Dern has too many distractions. I mean, I didn't like her comments either about when she's saying what if she wouldn't have felt ready to fight for a title if it was Zhang Weili who was the champion. That feels like a gigantic red flag. Like Verna, and I said this to Verna in our interview, like asked her about it. She defended Mackenzie because she's a nice person, but like that feels like a suspect thing to say where Verna feels like she feels she can beat anyone and she's the best fighter in this weight class.
Yeah, I mean, she's the more deserving equation in the title fight for sure, because I think a lot of people were kind of thinking that she should be the one. Like, obviously, when you don't talk much like Verna and you're not maybe the most popular fighter in the world, it won't come to you as easy. But I think nobody should complain that Verna's in the one half of the title fight. And I think with Dern, it's more circumstance, if you agree.
I absolutely agree.
Well, what else stands out for you in the card? We got Rakic and Murzakanov opening up the card. I spoke to Rakic. He's on a 3-fight losing skid. And he talked about switching his team and how he felt.
Yeah, who did he go with? I didn't catch the entirety of the interview where he said that, or did he not say?
Yeah, no, he did. I'm not familiar with the Serbian MMA scene, but he did say that he's there, and he named the coach. I'm sure people.
Okay, so it's not like he didn't go to an ATT or a Jackson or something like that. Okay.
No. So he just said that he switched teams and whatnot. But yeah, we speak about pressure. There's another one. It just seems like that's the storyline for a lot of guys. That's definitely a lot of pressure on him because at the end of the day, he is a fresh face in terms of the title contention picture, but he just every time hasn't been able to get quite there. I don't think a win over Azamat will, but it's definitely a start. But I picked him because I've been following his career for a while, and I think he's super talented, and I don't think he's lived up to his potential. He's a great striker. I think he's got underrated ground game, but it just seems like sometimes he's hesitant. Like he was beating Yuri until he wasn't, as does everybody apparently, right? That's a Yuri fight. What could you say about that? Yeah. But he was looking very good against Yuri until he wasn't. Ankalaev, he was very hesitant. But this is definitely Murzakanov's toughest test in terms of rankings and whatnot. But who did you pick for this one?
I picked Azamat. Just he feels like he's been on a good roll here. Confident, fresh face. He's going to go in there very much believing that he can knock this guy out. And I think he's going to be extremely aggressive towards it. And unless we see wrestling Rakic in this fight, like, against Anthony Smith and stuff, I think the longer this one goes on the feet, it's going to be tough for Rakic to get the range he wants, to get his kicks off and just kind of get into the flow of the game that he wants. So we'll see. I mean, Murzakov, one of these guys, he's had a good run in the UFC so far, but even though he's fighting a guy on a 3-fight losing skid, clearly the biggest fight of his career, and see if he can rise to the level.
Yeah, I expect Rakic to definitely mix in some grappling. I mean, he's got 2 knockout losses in his record. One of them, obviously, the TKO due to injury, so not really a knockout loss in that regard. And then against Yuri, which again is very similar to the Khalil Roundtree fight, where it's like Yuri's getting hit until he just out hits you or out crazies you. But yeah, so a lot of pressure on Rakic, a lot of pressure on Umar, a lot of pressure on Gane, a lot of pressure on Aspinall, a lot of pressure on a lot of people.
We should make a pressure list.
An order of pressure.
I think I actually did that as a written story for MMA Junkie at one point, so maybe we bring it back.
What for
Called the
what? Just
pressure list, and I rank
oh,
the fighters under pressure.
yeah, well, this is a perfect card to do so because there's a lot of people under pressure. But the prelims are interesting. I don't understand this Nasrat fight that just suddenly came up. He's been in Dubai for a bit, so I
Well,
found that a bit.
yeah,
I kind of
remember when someone asked us on the live chat we did on my channel a few
yes,
weeks ago, what's up
yeah.
with Nazrat? So
Yeah.
where's that guy? We should hire him as a reporter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been hearing that he's in Dubai, and I was thinking of interviewing him, and then it wasn't really happening. And then I said, you know what, I kind of have a feeling that he might
Nice.
have a fight. But a strange last second edition. I don't know if he's been chomping at the bit to compete, and then they just put this together because I know that. I mean, you need to help me pronounce his opponent's name because
Quillian
Quillen.
Quillen Selkild,
Okay.
I think it
Well,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I definitely know who he is. I don't
Yeah.
like butchering
Shout
pronunciations.
out
So
to our friend Jasmine, who I think wants to
yes,
meet you out there, but she's shot photos for MMA Junkie many times and is now managing a lot of people on that scene out there in Australia and New Zealand and whatnot. And yeah, her guys stepped up on very short notice as well for this fight. I think she said they got the call on 10 days notice. So
right. And this
we'll
is
see.
what I'm trying. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say is that because this card already has a lot of fights, so it's not like it was in dire need of a fight, but it just maybe seems like Nasrat really wanted to. No, but where did I read the was it Nasrat that said like 4 people turned him down? I'm like, what do you? I was like looking at his topology. I'm like, who? Or 4 fights were
Yeah, well,
canceled or
maybe
something.
none of them got announced or something like that. But I would hope
Not a
that,
single MMA person could
yeah.
get announced. A single one of them. That's weird, but
Well, you feel bad that I guess for Quillen, because I assume Nazrat has been training for this date and this one, and if he's gone through for a long time, and if you took on 10 days notice, but he said he's a stay ready, don't get ready guy. So we'll see. It should be a good fight regardless. I think it shows what they think of these guys that it was added so late, and then it's the featured prelim.
future. There you go. So yeah, maybe it seems like Nasrat's known about this for a while. It's just not a single even rumor out there about any of his. What was I don't know where I read that it was like 4 people or something like that that he had gotten or something. I don't know if I'm mixing him up with another fighter. Maybe I am. But we got Ikram Alaskerov as well against Junior Park. That's a fun fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All of these are fun fights, honestly. These prelims are pretty solid, to be honest. Nathaniel Wood way down there, but he's great as well. The return of Chris Barnett. Can't.
is he in better shape, or people were saying he was like sucking his
You're the one who's there. Have you seen him?
I actually, funny enough, but that was literally right before I had to like start my interview with him. I did see him and I was dying to just like, but I'm not like he was wearing like baggy clothes. Like,
you're gonna get to see a whole lot of them in about 11 hours far at official weigh-ins. I think that's when it goes down. What 1 a.m. Eastern time? I'll be riding up all night to help out with coverage for that.
Right, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, and I'll make sure to get a close up. Since we're talking about physiques, that's what 321 is about, right? Mackenzie Dern, Tom Aspinall,
need to get him and Ciryl Gane to stand next to each other. Show the extremes of the human capability.
And the heavyweight division.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, some good fights there. I mean, I spoke to Hamdi Abdulwahab, his opponent, who's done his training camp with Ciryl Gane.
Is he too big of a favorite? Isn't he like a -400 or something, Hamdi? Does that feel...
Yeah. No, that's interesting for sure. And we have to remember that Chris injured himself right in the warm-ups at 3. Yeah, yes. Like when he was like in the cage. Yeah, didn't really have the best performance against Injector, like if he ended up tearing his hamstring or whatnot. So, but yeah, it's the same thing that I was talking to Yusuf Zalal about when I interviewed him against Josh Emmett, and he agreed. I said I didn't want to offend him, but he kind of interrupted me and said, "Yeah, I don't know how the hell I was a -500 favorite." So yeah, like sometimes the odds, I don't know what the odds makers are looking at exactly. And it's a winnable fight for Hamdi. Like Hamdi comes from a wrestling background. But based off of Hamdi's performances, and he's admitted it himself that he said ring rust has played a factor for him. Now I know people are going to say since the suspension he hasn't looked the same, and that's a fair point as well. But considering his performances, for him to be this heavy of a favorite is sometimes I wonder what these odds makers are looking at.
Someone, before we wrap up, Lazy Bed had a good question about Jacqueline Amarim. Someone says, let me find it. There it is. On a 4-fight winning streak, faces Mizuki Inoue this weekend. Fought 3 times in 6 years, and Mizuki has fought 3 times in 6 years. What's the logic behind this matchmaking? I don't know. You'd have to ask Mick Maynard. They both had contracts that needed a fight offered, and it both worked on their timeline. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to build Jacqueline up and get that winning streak to 5. She's another one that has strong jiu-jitsu roots, and we know this place is going to love to see a submission to kick off UFC 321. So maybe that's all it is, Lazy Bed. A lot of stuff goes into this when it comes to matchmaking. It's not always winning streaks, rankings. It's like when they owe someone a fight, when they could be in breach of contract, a million different things. People turn down fights. Nasrat Haqparast goes through 4 opponents and they end up with this last minute option. So I can't speak to that, but it would be love to hear from the matchmakers about their process on the record sometime.
Yeah, I mean, the Walter Walker's fight is a late addition. Obviously, he was supposed to fight Muhammad Usman like a couple weeks ago.
Louis was supposed to fight in Australia, right? And that got canceled last minute. So cobbled together matchmaking in that scenario.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, I don't Lazy Bet MMA. This is not off topic, but any thoughts on Larissa Pacheco? Because I just got that right before we went on live. But any thoughts on her release from the PFL?
Happy to see it. It does not seem like they planned on using her in any way. So I hope she can make 135 and come to the UFC, because if not, what's her option for 145 elsewhere? There's not much to speak of. So yeah, it's rough out there. But if Kayla Harrison can do it, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, I mean, if Kayla Harrison do, we can believe in anyone doing anything, right? Like that was the one thing that no one thought was gonna happen. Well, before we wrap up here, he keeps asking this question. I don't want to ignore him, but have you got any ideas of Arnold Allen's potential opponent in December? I don't have an idea, but if you want to play matchmaker, Mike, I don't know.
Let me see here right quick. So obviously not Volk. Don't think it would be Movsar, but maybe. I wouldn't rule it out if they made Movsar fight that far down. If he had to. Diego Lopez, no. Yair Rodriguez is out for a while, so no. Lerone Murphy, highly unlikely. Aljamain, I mean, they're 5 and 6. That doesn't feel crazy, but I don't know if you're getting Aljamain to take that fight. I think he's shooting for something a little higher up the chain. So I don't know. You talked to Yusuf Zalal yesterday. Do you think he would be willing to compromise his plans for that one? Nope.
I doubt it, unless he said he's targeting right before Ramadan. No. And I don't think, jumping in December for Arnold Allen, like, no offense, but like, that just does not seem like something that would be logical for him.
Yeah. So then Brian Ortega is 8. He's hopefully never fighting at featherweight again. If he does, he's crazy. Josh Emmett.
John Silva?
Yeah.
Pitbull? John?
Ask him. Isn't he doing the Q&A before ceremonial weigh-ins? Tell a fan.
Because I'm sure he's gonna answer me like, yeah, I just signed a contract.
I don't know. He's John Silva. He might.
Yeah, that's true. He was calling out Holloway or something, and Holloway's like, is this guy concussed or something?
Or can you stir the pot between him and Yusuf up there, or what's going on?
Get them to fight each other. They seem like very friendly. I saw them in the lobby with that.
They're always very friendly when they're there as the guest fighters.
That's true.
It's remarkable.
Yeah. Well, we can try. Actually, that Q&A is only for the fans, right? Maybe. I'm sure someone's gonna tell him, "Well, who's next for you?" Like, that's your typical question. But I'd say maybe Pitbull. Pitbull's not booked, is he?
No, not as far as we know. So that would be a good one too. Or a rematch between that guy who attacked Arnold Allen but didn't actually attack him, and is not a true story. People didn't watch the video; they just read the headline.
For not speaking French, for not knowing how to speak French.
Yeah. What do you think of that hate crime?
Depends who attacked him, but yeah. But well, I always wrap up with this. If you could predict the bonus winners here, who's leaving? There's no Mike Bohn to up their bonuses to 321K or what?
Yeah,
but,
that era was fun. Well, maybe in 2026 you get that permanently. So Dana said the bonuses are going up for sure. So we'll see
who will be one of the final 50K winners.
Yeah, there you go. I'll say Azamat. We got it big. Umar and Batista, fight of the night.
Really?
And maybe. I don't know. The bantamweights, it could be exciting. We'll see. I mean, that would be more on Umar's side, just making him fight a lot. I don't know. As opposed to what? What's your pick for fight of the night? And I think Tom Aspinall gets a bonus, but performance of the night.
Hamdi and Chris Barnett.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these could have a lot of potential, to be honest. Like, it just depends how the team feels on the night. Like, Walter Walker could go out there and heel hook a guy in 40 seconds who's making his UFC debut, and they could bonus him over, someone who gets a much more important win rankings wise and things like that.
Klein and Rebecca is what a lot of people are saying. Obviously, Rebecca's been involved in 2 ridiculous fights in a row.
Yeah,
so
that's a good shout.
Yeah.
See if you can keep taking that kind of damage.
Wood versus Delgado as well. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. Mike, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you guys in the comments section. Oh, okay. George. All right. What's the biggest MMA fight?
Because it's a super chat.
Yeah. What's the biggest fight MMA fight the UFC can make at the White House, not involving Jones and Conor McGregor?
Islam Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria.
That is so not White House like fight betrayal.
So, I mean, that's what he said. The biggest fight doesn't need to be.
Captain America? I don't know.
What's the other choice?
Well, it's like when they told Aspen.
He said that's the fight.
Yeah, isn't it? Well, yeah, okay. No, it's a huge fight. Don't get me wrong. It just seems like it does not need to be at the White House.
I mean,
Jorge and Colby
does any fight need to be at the White House? But we're doing it anyways.
No. Jorge and Colby too. Like, there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's what they want, but someone says Holloway versus ? Holloway versus Oliveira, Holloway versus I don't know.
Nah. Yeah, I'm kidding. Obviously, Islam and Ilya anywhere on Mars would be great. Just doesn't really need to be at the White House.
I mean,
get it in Abu Dhabi, Mike.
Okay, here's the other one. Also, not two Americans, but Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall.
Sure. No, amazing fight, but I don't know. I just
don't know what we mean by the White House qualifier. Does one person need to be American or something?
I guess.
George says Harrison versus Nunes. I mean, yeah. Yes, but no.
No, only
yes, but no.
Yes, but yeah, no. Okay, like it just because all the bigger stars, I guess, are just not American right now, or the champions or whatnot. That's the reason why we're in this quandary. But MMA Junkie George versus Goes. There you go. That's the one. Or a tag team fight.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining the chat, Mike. I appreciate you joining me to break down all this.
It's late over there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time. And guys, I'll be on site. Mike's been helping me out like crazy with a bunch of stuff. So we'll have you covered for the remaining of the week. So thanks for tuning in and stay tuned on MMA Junkie for everything else.